This is the Joseph Stevenson Podcast, the podcast teaching digital marketing concepts that helps your business grow. And now your host, Joseph Stevenson.
Welcome to episode 14 of the Joseph Stevenson Podcast. I am excited today for this podcast, mainly because I'm getting to introduce chapter 4 of my next book, which is going to be SEO Part 1, on-page optimization. So if you haven't noticed or read any of my posts about it, I am starting with 4 books in this series. So the first one, which is already out, is on keyword research. And the idea is that companies should start with that so that they know which keywords they want to target, what the volume is for those keywords, the competition, all of those types of things. That way you know where you're trying to get to. And then book 2, which will be out, I'm hoping will be out in August. So it depends on when everything comes back from the editor. But August, part 1 of SEO will be out, and that's going to be on-page optimization. So basically, once you've determined what keywords you want to target, the second part is on-page optimization, where you're going to go on your website, make sure that your pages are targeting the right keywords that you have already picked out using what you learned in the first book. And it goes into depth on a lot of different points, options, things like that for on-page optimization, but it's pretty comprehensive. And the idea is that by the time you're done working through the second book, your site should be optimized for the keywords that you're targeting. Book 3 then is going to be coming out, I'm hoping by the end of this year, probably about December, and that's going to be on off-page optimization, which is everything you need to do off of your website to promote it. And that all 3 of those together, the keyword research, the on-page optimization, and the off-page optimization, should be the building blocks of what you need to get your website ranked, or if you're looking to do SEO for somebody else, get their website ranked. So book 4 is going to be on local optimization, which is slightly different, but builds off of what you're going to learn in the first 3 books. So the idea is your website can rank, and if you have a bricks and mortar store, local is going to help you show up in the map area. So I'm super excited. I really hope that what I've put in the books is useful. I'm trying to hold nothing back, put everything that I have learned into it. I know that SEO is going to change over time, but I'm trying to keep it as evergreen as I can. That way, 10 years from now, it'll still be semi-relevant. So I will do the best I can. And if it is not, then I will adjust the content in 10 years and re-release it. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into chapter 4, which is entitled Links and Styles. So when you do on-page optimization, the content is a huge part of the page, and it is usually the most easy to read and analyze for search engines. And it's the contextual content, so actual text on the page. And within that text, you're going to want to have links that are linking to other pages on your website, and links that go out to pages that are not your website that can back up or reference what you were talking about. And then on top of that, you're going to have style of text, which is bolding the text, italicizing the text, underlining, crossing through, etc. So I go through in chapter 4, talk about the differences between both. And today in the podcast, I want to just go over the basics for those 3 concepts. So the concept of internal linking, external linking, and style. So starting with internal links are basically, if you're not still sure what that means, it's linking to other pages on your site. So if you have a homepage and you want people to be able to contact you, and you write that in the text, so you might say, for more information, go to our contact page, you would highlight the contact page text and then link that over to your contact page. This helps because users that are on your site are going to be able to navigate to where you want them to navigate to with a little bit more ease. But as search engines crawl the site, they'll crawl through that text and they'll see that the contact page, which is your anchor text, points to a page that is about contacting us. So it gives search engines a signal that that's what that page is about. And SEO is all about signals. You have to signal and tell search engines what pages are about, what they're doing. If you don't, if you just assume that they'll figure it out, more than likely you will not rank. So this is a really basic example, but let's say you are targeting a keyword like dog training Henderson. So you would probably want to have a page set up on your site that targeted that keyword, so dog training Henderson or in Henderson or however you wanted to target it. And then on your other pages of the site, let's say you also offer dog training in Las Vegas and North Las Vegas. So on the Las Vegas page, you would want to have your content focused on that. But then you might also say, if you live in Henderson, check out, or if you don't live in Las Vegas, or if you live in Henderson, check out our Henderson dog training page. However you want the text written isn't that important. But then you could link over to the Henderson page with that anchor text of Henderson dog training. Now, the idea is that you're going to have some authority on your Las Vegas page for Las Vegas dog training. Your Henderson dog training page is going to be a different locale, but you're going to transfer some authority over with that internal link, but it's going to be translated into authority towards a Henderson dog training link. So it's a way to spread the authority from one page of your site to another. If you've been doing SEO already, you probably have some pages that rank well and some that don't. Having good internal link structure is a great way to transfer authority around and make your site look much, much more natural. So that is the first link option that I talk about in that chapter. The second link option, which is external links, is linking out to other websites. Now, because backlinks are a huge part of SEO, most people, if you haven't, you will soon, have probably gotten emails from people that say, I will do X, Y, and Z for you if I can get a link on your website to my website. I will write free blog posts for you if I can get a link. They're doing that because if they can get a link from your website to their site, you will basically be giving them a thumbs up, and in some cases be transferring some of your authority over to them. When you outbound link, you can set it to no follow or do follow. So when search engines crawl your site, find a link, if it says no follow, that means don't follow this link through and crawl it. Don't pass any authority to this site. If nothing is set, then it automatically goes to do follow and it says transfer authority, crawl through to the site. Now, I'm not going to get too much on the podcast into how to know if you want to set it to do follow or no follow. But what I'll say is, if you are referencing a site that is backing up something you're saying, and that site has a much higher authority than yours, don't worry about setting it to no follow. If, however, the site has much less authority, then definitely set that as a no follow. The reason why is if it do follows through, but it's going through a large site like Wikipedia or Google or something like that, you're not going to get penalized at all. You're not going to lose any ranking because you're not transferring any authority to a site that needs it. But if you are transferring authority to a site that is has much less authority than yours, the problem is you're going to transfer some and it's going to kind of ding you just a little bit. So make sure that you are careful about whether you follow or don't follow. With that being said, it's important to have external links because with on-page optimization, when Google crawls your site, if you just have content that is all referencing you, there's nothing on the web to back up what you are saying. And there's a reason why Wikipedia pages really rank well. And if you look at their pages, every page has usually hundreds and hundreds of cited sources on them to back up what they are saying. And oftentimes, these are sources that are high authority. Sometimes they're not, but they're usually very, very relevant. And so what it does is when Google crawls that page, they crawl through to those other pages. And when those other pages have supporting content that is similar, it basically tells, I keep saying Google, but just search engines in general, it tells them this page is definitely about that content. So external link, I would recommend doing it at least 3 or 4 times. If you have a product or a service and you're not sure how that's going to work, and you don't want to send it to a competitor, obviously, link out to historical type things, about type things. You can find pages that are about what you do that aren't trying to sell it. So if, let's say, you're a dentist and you're trying to target Invisalign, link to a page that's about Invisalign, the history of Invisalign, things like that, but don't necessarily link straight through to Invisalign if you're worried that they're going to start producing, their own and not using dentists anymore. So use some common sense like that, but don't stress so much about it that you're not doing any external links. So the final point is on stylizing. I call it stylizing. Stylizing probably is not even a word, but when you style a text, you can bold it, italicize it, underline, so on and so forth, highlight it. So search engines, when they crawl, they take that into effect to know how important text is. So if you have paragraphs laid out, all of the text in those paragraphs is considered equal importance. If, however, you bold a couple of words in that paragraph, it gives it a slight more importance. If you italicize it and bold it, it gives it even more importance. If you just italicize versus bolding, it's about the same as bolding it. In addition, though, there are what's called header tags. So you can wrap your headings in tags that are either H1, H2, H3 through H6. And H1 means this is the most important topic of the page. This is what the page is about. So if you're targeting Henderson dog training, that H1 tag should probably have something related to Henderson dog training in it. H2, H3, those can be more about the sections of content that they're over. So if you have a heading and then 3 paragraphs and then another heading, have those headings target that content of that section. But by having those in there, it gives search engines the ability to see 5 or 6 sentences or headings about what the entire page is about, and it gives them that overall topic. So use styling. Don't worry about it from an optimization standpoint, except to highlight the overall subject of the page. If you do it properly, then you're going to have a lot of success with your ranking even before you do any offsite optimization. That's kind of why I actually started with this book first over offsite, because if you do it correctly, a lot of websites can rank without even doing very much offsite optimization. So it's very nice to get good solid rankings without having to create backlinks or beg for citations and things like that from other sources. So that is an overview of chapter 4. The entire book will have about the same amount of chapters as the first book. And I guess while I'm talking about it, I might as well go over what those chapters are. So chapter 1 will be an introduction. Chapter 2, I'll be going in depth into meta tags. Chapter 3 is about text. And then chapter 4, which we talked about, is links and style. So that follows after you write the content. Chapter 5 is images and optimizing them. Chapter 6 is optimizing videos and music. Chapter 7 is on plugins and tools. Chapter 8 is increasing your page speed. Chapter 9 is mobile optimization, and Chapter 10 finishes up with schema and tags. And so implementing all of these into your site should definitely increase your rankings one way or another. It may not get you to the top for extremely heavy or extremely competitive keywords, but for some of the other keywords that you may be targeting that aren't as competitive, you should see a pretty good boost. And then book 3, which will be on offsite optimization, can get you the rest of the way there. So I hope you enjoy. As always, if you would like, please subscribe on my website so you can get these updates each week. And follow me on social media, and definitely reach out if you have any questions. Thanks so much.